Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls. Every game, every week.
Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to We're Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and sitting opposite me in the Wagon and Horses tonight is Mr. Simon Wright.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing? And ladies, exactly.
We're going to continue with our extra podcast that we're doing this season on our new signings, and we're going to talk about one that I actually saw last night. Play against Westfield, and that's Jamie Bird.
Oh,
now, before we talk about Jamie and his history and so on, and fill people in about Jamie's pedigree, and he had a great game last night, by the way. I thought before he went off, he'll get fined for this because he went off with cramp, unfortunately. But again, he hasn't had many minutes. But he's a little terrier, a good player, obviously from an academy. But an interesting point about that game: Hereford played Westfields last night in the HFA Senior Cup. And next door, Lads Club played Pegasus in a league match.
Yeah.
I wonder when the last time the four Hereford City clubs all played within 100 yards of each other at the same time. I mean, I can't think it will have ever happened before.
Imagine. And it's
can't have done.
It's a waste, but there you go. Such a waste.
I mean, it's possible that we played at home at Edgar Street when Westfields were at home and Lads Club were at home, but then Pegasus wouldn't have been involved in that.
No.
But to be on two adjacent pitches, the four senior Hereford clubs playing. In fact, we could have had a round robin that night and got the Hereford Senior Cup out of the way in one evening, couldn't we? So we started at 3 o'clock, and play a round robin, and had the final, then over the road at 7:30 for the final. Would have cut out a load of matches that we're going to have to play during the rest of the season.
Oh, exactly.
But anyway.
Could Paul Rogers have stood between the two and reported on both?
He could have done. He was at Westfield. I sat next to Paul last night. I had a very nice chat with Paul. He's coming to Weymouth for an overnighter. He's bringing his family and his
what fun.
Two adoptive kids with him as well, which is great. And we look forward to seeing Paul at that. But we're not here to talk about Paul Rogers.
No.
We're here to talk about Jamie Bird.
Yeah. Well, I can see a trend, or even maybe a proper formula now for Hereford FC signing. Okay, let me run through the criteria.
Okay.
Yeah, Welsh,
check.
Attacker in a variety of positions,
check.
Played for Cardiff,
check.
Welsh Youth International,
check.
Has played at our level or a higher one,
check.
Has had contact with Merthyr, sort of.
Or I'll give you that one just about.
There you go. Yeah. As South Wales travelling continue, they seem to be getting bigger by the week. They've been needing a coach soon.
Well, now it's interesting you should say that because Greener was on the bench last night. So I thought, why is Greener here on the bench?
What is it?
Why did he? I didn't get on, obviously. The reason was, of course, he had to bring half the team with him, didn't he? Who did play?
Oh gosh, he's the coach driver now.
So Greener's got to be in the squad in order to bring everybody with him.
There's not too many people who are a combination of central defender and coach driver, are there? But
Absolutely.
Good on you. Well, let me tell you a little bit what I found about Jamie Eric Bird.
Oh, by the way, before you we have a Jamie back. It's got to be good.
We need a Jamie.
It's got to be
We need
back.
more Jamies.
We were losing them.
It's worrying, wasn't it?
It was worrying.
Winning teams have Jamies in them.
They
a lot
do.
of them.
Indeed.
Yeah. And they have Jamies reporting on them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jamie Eric Bird is 19. He was born in Cwmbran. And for nearly all his life, he's lived in Cwmbran with his older sister Lisa and his parents Mark and Jennifer. Dad Mark is a long-distance Liverpool follower and passed his passion on to his son, whether he likes it or not. I guess I guess Jamie didn't like shed living, so I support Liverpool as well. Now his mother works at Waitrose. Now that's bound to create interest on the Hust Exiles Facebook.
Absolutely, because they like connection with, they like a local Waitrose, don't they?
Waitrose seems to get them very excited, but there you go. Now at the tender
Of course,
age,
in my day, if you had a Netto nearby, you were doing well, and they've gone or Quick Save, or Summerfield.
Oh, absolutely.
Summerfield,
whatever.
But now people want things that still exist, like Waitrose.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
great expense.
And it's a fine shop.
It is.
But oh my word, they're talking about it for hours now on Facebook. But anyway, as I was saying, the age of 8, young Jamie joined the Cardiff City Academy, and from then on, basically the whole family had a stake in getting the youngster to regular training sessions. You know, that's the bit that people sort of forget. You know.
Yeah.
It's a point worth making that these days pro footballers generally have a 10-year apprenticeship, and they lose a lot of their childhood along the way, and of course nearly all of that is unpaid, you know. So it's not easy. As he moved to the age groups, Jamie created something of a buzz. You know, when you're 15, that's a key age for academy players, and Jamie's rise just carried on. He had a stress factor at the age of 15, but it didn't matter to Cardiff. They were so keen, they got him signed up on apprentice forms while he was still 15. They just couldn't wait till he was 16. Get it on, get it done. And he was chosen for the Welsh under-17 squad. Cue noises from Frank, who's not at all impressed with the Welsh under-17 sides, but there you go.
That's just the sound of Frank yawning.
Yeah, it's sounding like me at the Hawthorns. But anyway, moving on rapidly.
Well, I'm sorry, but Welsh is it? It's a little bit like the old days of Jack Charlton managing Ireland, when in order to play for Ireland, if you'd once seen. If your grandmother had once seen a photograph of the Pope, you qualified to play for the Republic of Ireland, you know, like Townsend and whatever, people like that, you know, never been Ireland is right. So, I mean...
So you're not impressed, are you? And the 17s in particular, but... Yeah, so sorry about that, Jamie, but there you go. Perhaps you can persuade him. Jamie was originally a central striker, but he's played in other positions. Some sources have him as an attacking midfield, and that seems to be where maybe beats what he's thinking of playing.
That's certainly where he played last night.
Yeah, okay. And in 2015, along with a teammate from the academy, Bird was loaned to Barry Town, then playing one division below the Welsh Premier League. You can imagine that was a bit of a culture shock. But,
well, actually, nobody would have spotted him playing that because nobody goes to watch him, do they? So, you know, he won't get spotted playing for Barry Town.
No, exactly. I mean, Barry's always a bit of a culture shock, full stop, isn't it? But he was only there for a month, but he got himself noticed, profile was raised. He got a call up for the Welsh under-19 squad.
That's moving on.
Oh, no stopping him there. But in fairness, he became known for scoring spectacular goals.
Well, if he's claiming that one from last night, then that was spectacular, because it was direct from a corner.
That is so rare.
But actually, you know, the goalkeeper tried to fly kick it with his foot, and it spun off his foot into the top corner of the net.
Oh, that's got to be an own. That's got to be an ogie.
Oh, I think it's an own goal, but apparently he may be claiming it. But then that's his Welsh heritage. You'll be claiming anything, wouldn't it? Really?
I did come across one amongst many videos of Jamie's goals. And this particular one, I put it up on Facebook because it was really fascinating. 9 seconds gone of a game, and Jamie Bird danced through the entire opposition defence from the halfway line. It was very, very impressive. And, you know, he went on to play for Cardiff's under-21 side and their under-23 side. And in October 2016, he had another loan spell, loaned to Weston-super-Mare for 93 days, very precise. Here, he was played as a winger, but he wasn't played very often. He unfortunately spent far too much time on the bench. And we all know about the shortcomings of being stuck on the bench too long, don't we, Mr. Page?
Yep.
But yeah, Jamie played parts of 9 matches, 264 minutes in all, which probably doesn't sound very much for 93 days, does it really? He did score twice. I think those came in a Senior Cup match, but he didn't go anywhere near enough playing time. And I do wonder, whether his confidence as an upstanding Cardiff player got knocked by that.
Yeah, no, I think you've got a mistake in here somewhere, because you put here the end of his loan spell overlapped with the arrival of Gethin.
Yeah, I know, I've changed it on my copy.
You have. That's Gethin Hill.
Yeah, I've got it down as Gethin Birds. It was a long night.
The long lost brother,
Yeah. Okay.
So his loan spell at Western
it did overlap with
yeah.
Gethin Hill, and they did play 13 minutes together during one game.
You're very statistically astute tonight. Where do you get all this information from?
There's a very good database who does that for me. Thankfully, I couldn't do it myself.
Yes, you have to look for it. We are impressed.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured. I know such flattery. Now, I imagine that Jamie and Gethin must know each other, because Gethin was at the Cardiff City Academy for years.
Yeah.
And by this time, Jamie is based in Newport, where Gethin also lives. And Jamie's older sister works at the same insurance company as Gethin. I'm really working on this, wasn't I? I could be a detective.
There may be connections then,
yeah.
Including lift to matches and so on.
Yeah. Bound to be, yeah. So there you go. Okay, well, Jamie returned to Cardiff after his spell at Western Supermud. And... well, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And continued to get the odd game for City under-23s, but was released in May. Now, that was 11 years for City gone down the pan.
That hurts, doesn't it?
It really was. And, there's a lot of shocked people right across South Wales, apparently. It really did shock them. Now, Jamie had a trial game for Newport County against Merthyr.
So that's your Merthyr connection,
well, there might be more yet.
Right.
He was actually named as trialist number 7 or something like that, but the match reporters recognised him straight away. Played 70 minutes in that game and scored direct from a free kick, but Newport didn't take him on, possibly because he picked up a hamstring injury at the end of the game. Now, that's the only direct Merthyr link I can find, but as my man in Merthyr says, my Merthyr and Albion supporter tells me, he says, anybody who was Welsh got a trial with Merthyr in the close season, so chances are he probably did get a trial. And there's also mention of Notts County giving him a trial, but nothing seemed to have come off for him, curiously. As we know, Jamie was training with the Mighty Bulls for several weeks, waiting for international clearance. Why this rubber stamping exercise takes so many weeks? It's really quite pathetic.
We've had players before, waiting for international clearance. It's come through and they said, no, I'm not stopping. And there's another couple of Merthyr connections for you.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, his signature for the Bulls was announced on the same day as his clearance. I'm sure that was not a coincidence. And he's had some more good news. He passed his driving test first time in September.
Oh, so maybe he will be able to give Greener a lift.
That would be good, except
because Greener's getting to the age now where he may have to apply to take another driving test.
You can tell him, not me. He hasn't. I mean, having a licence these days for an ambitious footballer is just as important as having a pair of boots, really.
I know.
Yeah.
And you see the cars they turn up in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't got one yet, so that's a bit of a snag.
Well, you could always take him into Birmingham to Henry Tyrone's, couldn't we?
Oh, I'm sure we'll find something for him.
You know Henry Tyrone's, the back end of Digbers? It's the biggest scrapyard in Europe.
Of course it is. Yeah. Okay.
If your car breaks down and you leave it on the side of the road, and you put scrap on it, you can guarantee that one of Henry Tyrone's trucks will be there within probably a couple of days because they'll have spotted it. And whatever.
Wow. Yeah. Network.
Absolutely.
Network. Okay. Well, let me share one more interesting point with you. Arguably, Jamie's sister, Lisa, was a better footballer.
Really?
Than Jamie.
Right.
Certainly their dad thinks so, which is a bit unfortunate, but there you go. Lisa played for Cardiff City Ladies. I think she captained the side, and she got 11 caps for the Welsh under-19s. Oh, some hecklers, oh dear.
Right.
Hecklers outside. So, she's got 11 caps for the Welsh under-19s, and allegedly she gave up playing to support Cardiff City, which is either mad or devotion. I don't know. Yeah.
Because her brother was Cardiff's books and so on.
No,
She
maybe,
thought,
maybe. But there
She
you go.
gave up playing for Cardiff City so she
To watch Cardiff.
so she could support Cardiff City.
Yeah. So there
Right,
you go.
okay.
Not a story you hear about every player, is there?
Well, no, it's
So there you
not.
go. I hope everybody's suitably riveted and fascinated by that.
Well, absolutely. Well, it's always good to have a little bit of insight into players, and we do apologise, Jamie, if any of our information is incorrect. But I hope you'll understand that it's all done in the interest of good taste and entertainment, but not necessarily in that order. Anyway,
There you go.
that's enough for now. We've already found out there are people knocking on the window, waving madly
Yeah,
at
it's
Simon
embarrassing,
because he's
isn't
been recognised. In a moment, they're probably going to walk into the pub, and he will have to buy them a drink.
Intense, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to stop this recording now because I've got to get it edited, get it to Keith, and then tomorrow morning get on the train to 9:30 to go down to Weymouth. So that'll be really good. And thank you very much for listening, everybody. And we will be back with you shortly when we start looking at our next away trips, which will not be till the month of, well into October now.
Well, we don't even know, do we? Because the first game's... we got Banbury, haven't we?
Yeah,
But Biggleswade may be postponed.
Well, it all depends on Saturday the 30th, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you all again very soon. Thanks very much for listening. Bye now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.